Going on YouTube? Cloverbell's here, back with another series. Back with another Scarlet. Not even Scarlet 14. Back with another Scarlet and Violet video. I'm sorry, I cannot talk. But yeah, so in the last video we talked about Dragonite and why it was doing so well, why it was ranked 11th on this list in terms of usage, and we went over why. And if you didn't get a chance to watch that one, definitely give that one a watch. But now I wanted to take a look at some of the other stuff. And I noticed that we have some very interesting mons, not only in the top 10, but in the top 20. But also we also have like no surprises, right? So what I want to do is go down this list and take a look at the top mons, why they're doing so well, some popular moves, some popular teammates, some Terra types, and unfortunately there's no items and abilities yet, but that's okay. We can always like assume what they are. But again, in terms of like data, this is all from Pikalytics. So again, if you're a new competitive Pokemon player, if you're trying to get into competitive Pokemon, you got to use Pikalytics because this is a very good site, a very good resource that can very much help you with your team building and give you some ideas in terms of a starting point, right? So let's go ahead and start over here with Fluttermane. Again, no surprise that it's number 1. And if you look at our tier list over here, we had it also at number 1. It just makes sense, right? It just does so much damage. It puts on so much offensive pressure with the moveset it has, right? And I can already imagine what the moveset is without even having to look at it. But it could be just like a simple Dazzling Gleam, single target Shadow Ball, maybe something like Trick Room, and then Protect in the last one. But also something like, does this thing get no, it does not. I don't know what I was typing there, but then Protect over here, right? So if you look at Fluttermane, let's take a look here. Yeah, see like Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, Protect. Moonblast is another good one, single target, and then Icy Wind. I like that move a lot, and also Mystical Fire. So, oh yeah, that's right. We even had that in some of our other Fluttermane sets. And again, the whole idea with Mystical Fire, Terra Fire even, is just to counter the steel types that want to do super effective damage against you, and just hit them hard back with like a Mystical Fire or Terra Fire, for example, right? Icy Wind makes sense. It's speed control. Only Dragapult will pretty much outspeed you. You do speed type Qianpao, but that's okay. Again, special attacking Icy Wind is really, really nice. You get speed control along with some chip damage, so it makes sense. Trick Room, again, another good set. Calm Mind. Hey, that was one of my sets. That was my ambitious set. But again, not very high in uses, of course. It was just more like, hey, give this a try. It's a new toy. But yeah, in terms of teammates, of course, Amoonguss, Arcanine, and Chi-Yu, they make a lot of sense along with Torkoal, just because, Amoonguss is really good with Fluttermane because of Trick Room, and you're able to spore everything. Arcanine supports the Fluttermane because you have a fire type against potential steel types. You have Intimidate support, Snarl support, and just the Intimidate makes it so that Fluttermane is not taking as much physical damage, because again, if you look at the physical bulk base 55 defense, ain't gonna cut it. So Arcanine helps that a lot. Chi-Yu, again, I always say that Chi-Yu is the ideal partner for Fluttermane, just because you have the fire coverage against the steel types and against opposing ghost types that will do super effective damage into Fluttermane. You have dark type coverage for that as well. And then you have Beads of Ruin, which decreases special defenses by 25%. So now you have Chi-Yu and Fluttermane dealing big damage with Heat Waves and Dazzling Gleam / Shadow Balls. So it makes a lot of sense here. Okay, but yeah, no surprise here. And then Torkoal, of course, is just going to give Fluttermane photosynthesis because of Sunny Day. It's really your only drought user, so it just makes a lot of sense. Amoonguss, of course, we just mentioned that. Good Redirector Mon, good grass coverage with Seed Bomb. Spore, of course, just puts things to sleep. And actually, Clear Smog actually is higher in use than the it's actually Giga Drain. Oh, Seed Bomb isn't even on that list. I think that's probably your Brute Bonnet set. But yeah, Clear Smog and Pollen Puff, again, for that healing ability, and then poison coverage, really good into like the fairy types. So it makes a lot of sense. You're able to remove stats also, like Dragon Dance, Swords Dance stuff. But yeah, makes sense here. And then of course Arcanine, there's no Incineroar, so you kind of need the next top dog for Intimidate, and no pun intended, but here it is. Arcanine, again, Flare Blitz, Willow, Snarl, Protect. That's a very standard set. E-Speed is also pretty good if you have like Qianpao on the team as well. We talked about that with Dragonite in the previous video. And then it also gets access to Helping Hand, which is also really, really nice. But I think These first 3 moves is very, very standard. No surprise there to see Arcanine in number 3. Now, Torkoal at number 4 was actually interesting to me. I didn't think I would see Torkoal in number 4. Like, I definitely could see it in the top 20. I didn't think I would see it in number 4, but that's because, you know, people are trying to be playing with Trick Room, and you have Eruption as its most used move. Makes a lot of sense, of course, but I want to see where Body Press and Yawn are. So here's, like, Protect. Here's Earth Power and Yawn. Okay, so, like, Eruption, Heat Wave, Protect, Earth Power. Yeah, that's, like, the standard 4 moveset if you're doing, like, a Trick Room, Sweeper, Torkoal. But here's Body Press and Yawn, not too high, so I guess maybe not just yet. Maybe they'll go back to that eventually, but yeah, this set is pretty standard. I have no complaints there. And again, of course, your 2 more popular move, actually top 5 makes a lot of sense here, right? With Flutter Mane, Roaring Moon, of course, Photosynthesis, you're able to bring out the sun. They do a lot of damage. You have the Lily Cold combination with After You Eruption. Trick Room, where Iron Hands is doing a lot of damage, so that's also the physical Trick Room sweeper on the team, and then Brute Bonnet, rather than the Amoonguss, makes a lot of sense here, of course, for like Spore, Rage Powder, and then Seed Bomb, and then Dark Coverage. And then from there, it's just like random options, right? But yeah, again, I didn't expect to see Torkoal 4, but hey, it's totally okay. Now, Grimmsnarl at number 5, of course, we have the secondary Clover mascot, you know, at number 5. All right, my good friend Bryce Young, aka Mandy, you know, check him out on YouTube. He's another VGC player. He said Grimmsnarl's not even making the top 20. And I said, huh? Mandy, what are you saying? Grimmsnarl is top 10, and here it is in the top 5. Now, granted, it is early. Okay, it's very early. It's only been out for a couple days in the format. But, you know, let's look at the sets that people are using with Grimmsnarl. Of course, Parting Shot at number 1. You see, this is what we call shiny new toy syndrome, right? Of course, Prankster Parting Shot's got to be number 1. Standard, Light Screen, Reflect, and then Spirit Break. That would have been my set if I were to use Grimmsnarl. Of course, it's very standard. And then you have stuff like Fake Out, T-Wave, Taunt, and Foul Play, right? This is the next 4 that I would have seen Grimmsnarl players try to use. Fake Tears is interesting. It's so Sucker Punch. But, yeah, no surprise here with the top 4 moves on Grimmsnarl. Makes a lot of sense. Arcanine, of course, you know, Grimmsnarl and Arcanine is a defensive backbone for a lot of the VGC teams, right? If you can just slap these 2 on, your bulk is fine. You're good because you got Will-O-Wisps and Snarls. Then you add screen support there. Then you have Intimidate. You have all kinds of damage reduction. You're chilling. You're just chilling. All right. And then from here, you know, you see some other interesting options, but like I could see, you know, Grimmsnarl and Garchomp being a good combination. And then from there, you know, it just really depends on what people are trying to play with it. But you can see a lot of people are trying different things with Grimmsnarl. Roaring Moon, I thought this would be in the top 5 actually, but you know, at number 6, okay, that's okay. But like, look at this thing. It's an absolute unit. Base 139 attack, 119 speed, good special defense bulk, good HP bulk. Like, it's just no surprise there. And again, Dragon Dance, that's the set that I would have ran on it. Dragon Claw, I kind of like Breaking Swipe, but that's okay. Acrobatics is also new, but I guess if it doesn't have an item after the energy booster, then I guess it also makes sense. But here's the Iron Head, right? This is the terrestrialization. So you can transform into a steel type, and then just, you know, hit fairy types like Grimmsnarl or Sylveon or Flutter Mane just for really hard damage. And then you get Tailwind as another secondary option. And then Crunch is more preferred over Throat Chop at the moment, but again, it's all personal preference. Jaw Lock and Earthquake is interesting, and there's the Breaking Swipe. There's my move, and it's at the bottom, so I'm a little sad about that, but that's okay. I like Breaking Swipe. Iron Hands, you know, other than Torkoal, this is your physical dominant Trick Room sweeper. So, you know, really high attack stat, you know, makes a lot of sense. You can run like Assault Vest on this thing if you want, just to give it even more bulk. But of course, close combat and wild charge expected. And then from there, it's really up to you. Fake Out, of course, yeah, it's just like Hariyama gets Fake Out. And then Protect, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, yeah. From here, it just, you know, it just depends on what you really want to run with it. But definitely, you know, close combat, wild charge, and Fake Out. From there, it's really up to you. All right. Again, Amoonguss, Torkoal, these are all like, you know, pretty standard options. I think they make up a solid core because, you know, you want to set up Trick Room, you want to Spore everything, you want to click Eruption, and then you just need like a dominant Trick Room setter. and then you're okay, right? And you have some options here. You have Pincurchin, right? So it's Quark Drive. You want to set up electric terrain, so that's another option. Also does really well in Trick Room, so I can see some teams trying to exploit that gimmick. NDD Hatterene with Iron Hands and Torkoal, that would have been my 4 to start things off, right? And then you add Lilligant, right, because of Torkoal, and then Iron Hands is on the same team, so makes a lot of sense. Qianpao, this is another good one. Again, you want to pair this thing with like some of your physical dragons, and you can see them right here. Dragonite, just like we mentioned in the other video, and then of course Amoonguss and Arcanine make a lot of sense along with Fluttermane. This is the core that we built. We did soft team building with the other day, and then you can see Roaring Moon, coming in at number 6. But I do like Murkrow, right, because of Tailwind support. You have the damage reduction. Now you just need the speed control, and I think Murkrow adds very, very nice combinations with that. Palafin, same thing. Like you reduce defenses, and now this thing with the base 160 attack is just dominating. So I understand that. But yeah, like where are we in terms of, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we have Chi-Yu at number 8. So again, makes a lot of sense. If you have Fluttermane really, really high, you're probably going to see Chi-Yu also really, really high at number 8. I think we are at number 8, right? I think I counted properly. Maybe I missed a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, this is number 9. My bad. This is number 9. So Chi-Yu at 9. Again, another good special attacker, good special defense, good speed, just like Fluttermane, just a little bit slower. But again, very standard set. Heat Wave, Dark Pulse, Protect, and then Snarl. A very, very standard set here that we just did this in our previous video, right before Dragonite. Lava Plume is something that's very interesting that people are trying. I wonder if they're using it with that Dax Bun, that the dog where you get hit by a fire move, you get a defense boost. I wonder if people are trying that. Terra Blast, okay. Will-O-Wisp, the bulky set. All right, I like that one. Now, when I scroll down here, I saw Terra Grass. Makes a lot of sense in terms of that, because like, remember, you're weak to ground types, you're weak to water types, you're weak to rock types. What's the one type that can do super effective damage to all 3? Grass type. So it makes a lot of sense that you would see Terra Blast Grass over here. But yeah, you can see the combinations, right? And I do like Murkrow again with that Tailwind support. Dragonite again is on that team with Fluttermane and Amoonguss. And then a plethora of options. I'm surprised Raichu's over here. Iron Bundle at number 10. I also did not expect to see Iron Bundle at number 10. And believe it or not, if you look at my tier list, everything that we saw so far is either in the S tier or in the A tier. But we did not put Iron Bundle in the A tier. We actually had it in the B tier, I believe, right? Where are you, Iron Bundle? Somewhere here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I had it at I didn't really arrange it in any order, but yeah, I had this thing at the B tier. I knew it could be pretty good. I just didn't think it would be number 10. But again, it's still new. People are trying different things. They're experimenting. So maybe, this could go up, this could go down. It all really depends. We have to give the format time. But in terms of the sets with Iron Bundle, if you take a look here, it's just like, oh man, this thing is always popping up here. Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, very, very standard set here, right? You have a lot of speed, you outspeed Fluttermane, so, and also Qianpao. So if you can just slow them down with Icy Wind, makes a lot of sense. And then Protect, right? So that's also pretty good. This would have been my 4 if I had to use this Mon, right, with this kind of set. And then you want to support it. Of course, Arcanine makes sense, Dragapult makes sense. And then from here, it's just like, okay, what are we trying? Brute Bonnet, Okoi. All right, and then we talked about Dragonite yesterday, so I'm not gonna go too in depth here. But that was the top 10, right? So yeah, very, very interesting. No surprises in terms of the top 10 for the most part. Some I didn't expect to see as higher than others. Like I didn't expect to see Torkoal up here so high. I thought it would be in the top 20. I didn't think it would be top 4. Iron Hands I thought would be within the top 5. It's not in the top 5, but still within the top 10. And then Chi-Yu, another one that I could see being top 15, but you know, close enough, right? It's top 9. Iron Bundle, I didn't expect to be number 10. I really did not. I thought it would be, again, like a top 20 mon, top 30, but I didn't think it would be like top 10. And those are pretty much it, right? But again, understandable. People are trying different things, especially if they're doing Trick Room. You gotta expect like Torkoal and Iron Hands, right? So it makes a lot of sense. Roaring Moon and Fluttermane, of course, they're the new Paradox mons. I expect these two to be the top 2 for the rest of the format, unless something changes with DLC things coming in, of course. But yeah, and then, you know, if you want, actually, let's just look at the top 20. You know, we'll just briefly look at the top 20. I know this is a top 10 video, but just to give you a little bit more of scope and sequence of things, let's look at the top 20, you know, from 11 through 20. Okay, so then after Dragonite, at number 12, we have Garganackle. Again, something like this. Look at that defense stat with 130. I would expect this to be Iron Defense Body Press. Yeah, there it is. And then Salt Cure. Recovers good, you know, just so that you always get that passive recovery, and then you just solo things down with the end game of Iron Defense Body Press. And then you have Tinglu and Grimmsnarl for like support, so that way this thing doesn't die, right? So if you look at Tinglu, just to give you a perspective of things, it combos really well because what it does with Vessel of Ruin, it ruins special attack damage everywhere, right? So now if you look at Garganacle's special defense, now it's just not dying because now you have Iron Defense and now you're reducing special attack damage. So now this thing is just not dying. And then you add Grimmsnarl with screen support, and now what are you doing, right? It just becomes unremovable. A little bit passive, but again, I understand it's very, very strong. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to see it this high. And then of course Tinglu, that we explained that for that reason. Other mods that could also very well benefit next to Tinglu, I saw this. Where is it? Tyranitar also makes sense. But basically anything with like not great special defenses can benefit, right? Especially if you're like a physical sweeper, you know, you just really benefit from Tinglu. But other than that, you know, Earthquake and Throat Chop, these were standard, along with Protect. I guess Runation for like support, and then, you know, maybe Stomping Tantrum over Earthquake, right? Just in case you can't EQ next to a couple mons. But again, Garganacle and Grimmsnarl, you know, very, very standard. I don't know about this sand combination with T-Tar and Houndstone. I guess T-Tar makes sense, right? Because of the sand, and then you have Garganacle over here. So maybe that, and then you have Houndstone for like, you know, Sand Rush stuff. So yeah, I guess I can understand that. Scizor at number 14, if I'm understanding this correct. All right, so it's 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so Scizor at 14. That's pretty much where I would have put it, you know, within the top 20, but not top 20. Bullet Punch, and then Protect and Close Combat, right? You know, Swords Dance is something interesting. I didn't expect Swords Dance to be within the popular set. I thought U-Turn would be that option, or even Pounce, but, you know, I guess Swords Dance makes a lot of sense after, you know, just getting that +2 bonus with Bullet Punch. And then again over here, same idea here. Amoonguss, Arcanine, Roaring Moon. This would have been my 3 to put together with Scizor, because you get a Dragon type, then you get a Steel type, and then you just need a Fairy type over here, which I'm sure is along this base somewhere. But I would have just put like something like Fluttermane or another, you know, just dominant Fairy. But it makes a lot of sense, right? I also thought you could see Scizor on like Rain Team. So did we see Teleper stuff? No, we didn't. Oh, I guess it's not quite there. But, you know, I did like to see your Scizor on a Rain Team. I think it also makes a lot of sense, but that's fine. T-Tar at number 15. Yeah, again, makes a lot of sense. You know, Sand is really nice. There's no Dynamax, there's no Zacian, no Tapu Fini, no, you know, 4x super effective, you know, Max Knuckle, and then Max Quake, Groudon, Kyogre, not in the game. So Tyranitar looks really, really good again. You know, very, very impressive bulk. And then a very standard set. You know, this would have been my 4. Rock Slide, Protect, Dragon Dance, Crunch. You know, just able to outspeed things after Dragon Dance, and then you just click Terra Rock, Rock Slide. You know, just clinch everything to death, and then that's it. Game's over. I guess Houndstone is something that we overlooked. I didn't expect, you know, people to be using Houndstone T-Tar so much. But again, it's early. They're trying new things. But yeah, again, here's that Arcanine Garganical combination with Tinglu. Makes sense. You know, it's very interesting. But yeah, I understand it. Dondozo. So I feel like Dondozo and Tatsugiri go together. I'm surprised that Dondozo isn't used as much as Tatsugiri. Like, where is this thing? So like 8.42% versus 10%. Like, how are people playing this thing without Tatsugiri? Like 2% is a lot in terms of a difference. But yeah, man, I mean, like, order up, wave crash, like this thing we know what this combo is with Tatsugiri, where like it's just like you go inside him and then you just get an Omni boost. Makes a lot of sense, right? Gyarados and Brute Bonnet, you know, they're pretty much rounding it out here. Again, Brute Bonnet, I thought it would be a lot higher than this, to be honest. Like, I didn't expect Brute Bonnet to be so low. I had this in the S tier. I think many people did as well. This is like supposed to be the better Among Us, but I guess maybe they're trying it in like faster teams. But Spore, Sucker Punch, Ray Powder, Seed Bomb, I would have went with like Crunch, but Sucker Punch just makes sense as well. But here it is. Torkoal, Flutter Mane, Iron Hands makes a lot of sense. Even Indeedee over here is okay. But yeah, I thought it would be a little bit higher than this. And then Gyarados, yeah, I mean, we had Gyarados in the A tier, you know, within the top 20, it makes sense. Waterfall, D-Dance, Protect, and, you know, from here you have a lot of options. You have Earthquake, Icy Wind, even T-Wave. I like these moves, actually. You know, I think they just make sense. And then, you know, Among Us, Flutter Mane, Chi-Yu, Iron, and Garchomp over here. Excuse me. This would have been the 4 I would have picked next to Gyarados, right? Chomp, Chi-Yu, Flutter Mane, Among Us, and then you just build from there. And then Chi-Yu makes a lot of sense if you're gonna have Flutter Mane. But yeah, so that's the top 20. Again, no real surprises just yet. Like, we've had a couple of like question marks and like some interesting, you know, mons that did crack the top 20, or mons that, you know, we expect to be in the top 20, but like we're actually in the top 10 or top 5. But yeah, it's okay. It's early on, but for the most part, this is pretty much what we'd expect. But you know, just no like real like holy cow, like this thing wasn't even in the top 100. What's it doing in top 10? No, we didn't have anything like that. But yeah, let me know what you think of the top 10 or the top 20 so far, right? And then we'll just keep going with our spotlight videos until it's time for rank ladder. But let me know if you'd like to see more analytical stuff like this. But again, in terms of like team building, yeah, again, we have the tier 3 sub option open. So if you want to sit down one-on-one in a Discord call with me and build the team from scratch, you know, where I show you how to do the EVs, you know, just slowly, you know, when I share my screen, you know, we did that a lot in Sword and Shield for a lot of people. So we're bringing that back. So if you want to team build with me one-on-one on a Discord call, it's a tier 3 sub to the channel. Or if you already have a team and you just want me to fix it up a little bit, that's a tier 2 sub to the channel. And just like the tier 3, both of those are in the video description. So if you want to sign up for tier 2 or tier 3, you have that option. And then you can just message me on a Discord call. Just message me on Discord, and then we'll organize a time and we'll build squads from scratch, just to get you guys ready for ranked ladder or for your potential regional, for example, right? So there's that. We'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good night.